Hello, everyone. Welcome to Estate Planning Basics. We are the Harvard Federal Credit Union, and we're delighted that you have chosen to join us today to learn a little bit more about some of your options for estate planning with the credit union. My name is Jen Fries. I am the Community Engagement Manager for the Harvard Federal Credit Union. My colleague Ty Robinson is in the background and will be throwing links into the chat and helping out with the Q&A. And I believe Terrence is not on today, but may join us later. Let's see. So this is a total webinar format. So for those of you who are on the call here, we can't see you and we can't hear you. So go ahead and eat your lunch or do whatever you want. You're not on camera. However, you are able to submit questions by going into the Q&A feature in Zoom. Sometimes it's if it's not on your toolbar, sometimes it's in the more on the far corner, and you might have to go in there to submit something on the Q&A. If you like, you can go in there now and just let us know where you're joining us from. That's always nice to hear. And at any time during this chat, during this webinar, you can submit questions into the Q&A, and we will get to them either as they come up in the presentation or at the end, definitely. Everything on here is also being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel. A little bit about Harvard FCU. Some of you may know us by our old name, Harvard University Employees Credit Union. So fairly recently, we changed our name to Harvard FCU. We are not-for-profit banking. We are owned by our members, so we don't have to make a profit for shareholders. We're here for you, for our members and for the community. And we're run by Harvard employees. And most of the people on the call today are from Beth Israel Lahey Hospital and affiliated hospitals, and most of the teaching hospitals in the area through their connection with Harvard are part of our field of membership. But we've also expanded it out. So it's not just Harvard students, alumni, faculty, staff, and people at the teaching hospitals, but many more people in the community are going to be eligible to join the credit union. So we welcome them to us. We try and provide just a wide range of products and services that are of a benefit to our members. And again, we're not trying to make money off of you. One nice example that I like to give is we do have free access to any ATM nationwide. So if you use an ATM somewhere and they charge you a fee, we will refund that fee to you. So that's just one example of how we try and make banking better for you, the member, and easier if you do choose to join us. You can go to any of our locations, including our location across from Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in the Longwood area. We also have location in Harvard Square at MGH and a couple other places. You can also use what's called shared branching through credit unions around the country. So if you happen to be somewhere else and you want to bank with us, you can walk into a whole network of shared credit unions and co-ops around the country and bank there just like you're banking with us. And then of course, online banking is always available. Today, I'm delighted to introduce Julie Fry. She is the Chief Operating Officer and the co-founder of Gentreo. Gentreo is one of our partners that we offer to our members and they're experts in estate planning. Julie's an acclaimed expert in elder care as well as estate planning, and she organizes the Our Aging Market Conference at the Harvard Business School Association of Boston, and that brings together leading companies targeting the senior market. Julie has an expertise and was on the executive team at the National Association for Home Care. So she kind of comes at it from that angle as well, and home care and hospice. And I'm sure she could speak to that as well. And she also co-founded the National Private Duty Home Care Association. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Julie. At the end, we'll come back and answer some questions. So Julie, please come on screen, and I'm going to stop my share so you can share yours.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. And I was like, that's such a great bio. I was like, you pretty much caught everything. Um, what I want to do today is take all of you through just the basics of estate planning. As Jen had mentioned, please feel free to put your questions in the Q&A, and I'll try to either get to them throughout the presentation or afterwards. There'll be time for a few questions as well. And so what I'm going to do now is jump into our basics of estate planning. So, what we want to do at Gentreo is give you the ability to protect all that you love. Estate planning is really so important because everyone over the age of 18, regardless if you're very wealthy, if you're single, if you're married, etc., should really have a basic estate plan in place. What we want to do is provide you with the tools so that you can easily go on, much like TurboTax for estate planning, and create a plan that works for you, that's easy to do. And thanks to our partnership with the Harvard Federal Credit Union, it's super affordable. And what we help you do is create all of those legally binding documents to prepare you in the life's unexpected events. Jen, estate planning not only protects your money and your assets, but most importantly, it protects your children. Who cares for your minor children when you can't be there? Also, who cares for your pets? And what are your healthcare choices? Because good estate planning starts while you're still living. Unfortunately, a huge amount of people are not prepared. When we did estate planning in our family, it cost our parents $10,000 to do it. And we thought this is insane because everyone needs an estate plan. So we created Gentreo so that you can create a plan that works for you, that you can update that plan, and you can make sure that everything is prepared so that you are protecting all you love. Without an estate plan, you can lose 3 to 8% of your assets, or your family can, because you're going to have to go through probate. They're going to have to hire lawyers, and it becomes very, very costly. It becomes very burdensome. And the other thing is that you lose control of your choices. When you die intestate, meaning you don't have a will, the state now makes those decisions for you. We want to give you tools so that you make it simple, you understand what you're doing, and that you control what your decisions are. As I mentioned, it's expensive, you don't get control. And then you also want to avoid those family arguments, because so many times when someone passes away, it's a very, very hard time. Having a clear estate plan in place, making sure that you have a digital vault so that information is there, really helps ease the burden of your loved ones. Today, I want to jump into the basics of estate planning. I'm going to talk about what the documents are, why they're needed, and what they do. The first and most common document that people think of when they talk about estate planning is your will, or your last will and testament. So what your will does is your will allows you to say who has control over your assets after you pass away. It allows you to bequeath things like special gifts, like your car or your motorcycle or money, etc. And it allows you to say who takes care of your minor children. And this is incredibly important because if you do have minor children, it gives you the ability to say who you want as their guardian. If that person is not available, who's the backup guardian, and it allows you to name who has control over your assets, and like your pets, for example, your home, etc. The will only takes effect after you pass away. So that's very important because estate planning starts now, but what the will, no matter what you say, until you pass away, it does not take effect. Unlike your healthcare proxy. With your healthcare proxy, with most of you are all working within the medical field, you're all very aware of it. The Gentreo healthcare proxy includes not only your living will or medical directives. Do you want to have life-sustaining treatments, etc.? But it also contains information like um, who can make decisions on your behalf if you're unable to do so, and that HIPAA release. This is incredibly important for you to have if you have children over the age of 18 who you still help. So, for example, if you have a child that's going off to college or the military or leaving the home, if you're still helping them make doctor's appointments and prescriptions, etc., you need to make sure that you have a HIPAA release, which is built into the healthcare proxy. That way, in the event that they have something go wrong, they can go ahead and you can address the medical team thanks to having a healthcare proxy in place. Your child would need to have a healthcare proxy where they name you or whoever they want to talk to their medical team. Another document that takes place while you're still living is your power of attorney for finances. This is important because if you want someone to be able to do things like pay your taxes, manage your checking account, savings account, etc., you can have somebody who can step in and do that for you. Again, this only takes and is only valid when you're living. For us, it was incredibly important because our father unfortunately ended up with Alzheimer's. When he got Alzheimer's, what ended up happening was we could step in and use that power of attorney for finances to pay his bills, to make sure the mortgage was paid, etc. This is very important because it's a very, very powerful document, because you are handing over the ability for somebody to make financial decisions for you. And because of that, with Gentreo, we allow you to take control and say who has what privileges. So, for example, you can limit the powers by time. Like, I'm headed out of the country on sabbatical for a year. For a year, from this date to this date, somebody can be my power of attorney, or by authority. I give my person the authority to manage my checking account, pay my real estate taxes, pay my mortgage, but they're not able to make changes to my documents or make changes to real estate, etc. So you can limit it both by time as well as authority. Oh, sorry about that. The next is the living trust. So a living trust is basically a trust that creates a legal entity to you to put money or assets into, so that when you pass away, the trust already has control over those assets. So anything that's in that trust avoids the probate court, so that your family or friends, whoever you give those assets to, can take immediate control over it. A living trust has two primary purposes. One is to avoid probate, and probate is basically the legal process of closing out all of your assets. Anything in a trust avoids probate. And then two, it allows you to maintain privacy, because probate is a legal process that is that is available, and that is public knowledge. So your will become public knowledge, and your trust is private. So it allows privacy because everything's already transferred into that trust. And then it allows you to really have a very smooth asset transfer. The living trust is very important to know that is built up to avoid probate and to maintain privacy. It's not used for things like tax purposes or Medicaid. That is called an irrevocable trust. An irrevocable trust, Gentreo does not offer, and we do suggest that you go to a lawyer, because Gentreo, it provides you with all the tools to create legally binding documents, but we aren't a law firm, and we can refer you to lawyers. An irrevocable trust says once you put in those assets into that irrevocable trust, that trust now owns it, and it's incredibly hard to get those assets out of that. So if you're in the midst of planning for a 5-year look back, etc., and you want to get Medicaid for long-term care planning, an irrevocable trust is probably what you need. But again, this is something we'd send you to a lawyer for. The living trust is something that's very easy to move assets in and out of, and it's something that you can do on your own. A pet trust is basically a trust that allows you to set up money towards the care of your pet. So if you have a pet, a dog, a cat, a horse, etc., and you want it to go to a specific person, and you want to be able to provide money for the care of that pet, you can use a pet trust. While we think of people at our pets as people, the law does not. And by that, I mean that unfortunately, you cannot leave money directly to a pet in the United States. You have to leave the pet to the care of an individual, and then you leave money to that individual towards that pet's care. So that's a pet trust. A new document that we have now is called a pet power of attorney. And what a pet power of attorney does is a pet power of attorney allows you to say who can take your pet to the vet, make financial decisions on its behalf, and make healthcare decisions on its behalf. We use this whenever we go on vacation. A great example of why this is so needed. One of our friends was in the military, and he left his dog to the care of his fiance, but it was his dog. And while he was out serving the country, his dog's stomach had a medical emergency. His stomach flipped, which was a really expensive surgery. And they would not do the surgery until they had permission to spend that amount of money. With a pet trust, pardon me, a pet power of attorney, that power of attorney gives somebody the ability to make those decisions on their behalf. Something that's really important is the fact that no matter what documents that you have, unless people know where to get those documents and how to access those documents, it's almost as good as not having them. And so what we want to do is provide people with the tools to not only create their documents, but also securely store and share them. Because in the event of an emergency, people need to know how to access those documents and have easy access to those documents. With that, we provide a digital vault, and we provide instant sharing, instant share button, so that anywhere that you can get access to the internet, whether you're using your cell phone or an iPad or desktop, you can get access to the information people have shared with you. Gentreo is available in all 50 states. So whether you live here in the United States, and then you, pardon me, if you live in Massachusetts, or if you live in South Dakota, etc., all of our documents are legally binding in all 50 states and DC. Each document is different in each state, and each way that you execute it or make it legal is different in each state. This is incredibly important because it is not just a blank form that you fill out. What we do is we figure out what your specific situation is. Do you have children? Are you living, what state do you live in? What documents do you need to fill out? Then we give you a step-by-step survey so that you can control who has access, and you can fill out the documents so that you can create a PDF of a legal document that then you can get executed. On the document itself, it'll have the state-by-state, step-by-step instructions to make sure that that document is executed correctly, and to make sure that it's legally binding. And so whether it's getting your document signed in front of witnesses or a notary or both, you'll have the specific instructions to get that document in your state made legal so it's effective. for us, Gentreo really works hard to make sure that everyone, whether it's somebody who's extremely well educated, somebody who's new to the estate planning process, can go in and create the documents that are right for them based on their choices. And so throughout the way, throughout the every step, we will actually give you things like pop-up tools, chat bots, question resource centers, so that we give you the right information at the right time. If you cannot find information or you're stuck, you have questions, etc., we do have technical coaches that you can talk to that are US based, that you can call for free as part of your membership and ask them questions. For example, the other day, we had someone who called in who had a motorcycle and they wanted to make sure that their husband got the motorcycle if they passed away first, if that husband passed away before them, that their nephew got the motorcycle. So our technical coaches can explain to you how to fill out the surveys to make sure that your documents represent what your choices are. But they won't give you specific legal advice. Like, for instance, do I need a trust and a pour over will? Or do I need XYZ? We'll give you the basic information. We'll send you to the guides. But a lot of this is all built into the system itself so that you can create your documents easily and quickly on your own time. So if you want to jump in, start creating them, need to create them later, it gives you the ability to control how you create the documents, when you create the documents. And then we give you that digital vault so that you can upload it, invite your friends and family, and make sure that they have the documents that you want them to have. So, for example, our next door neighbor takes care of our dog when we're away. And so we share our dog and pet information with them so that he knows what Butter's routine is. He has that pet power of attorney, but yet he doesn't have all of our sensitive information. My mother, on the other hand, we live in Massachusetts. She lives in Illinois. She shares all of her information with us. We share all of our information with her. So then that way, if there ever is an emergency, all that information is there. The digital vault allows you to save not only your estate planning documents that you create, but other additional outside information as well. So whether it be if you already have a will that you're bringing with you, or information about where your credit union is, or if you have a mortgage, or information on your digital assets, your funeral plans, etc., you can upload that important information so that everybody knows where to turn in the event of an emergency. When you share that information with people, number one, it is securely stored and shared. We have bank level security. We take every security extremely, it's extremely important to us. So everyone that you invite to join your circle or your team needs to join as a team member. And then we share that information on the secure Gentreo desktop. That team membership, which allows them to access that information, is free. And if they want to create their own documents, they of course would have to get a membership, but it's all taken care of as part of your Gentreo membership. Just some brief screenshots of what the Gentreo product looks like. You have a desktop that takes you through step by step. We have something called milestones, because estate planning isn't just about what are you doing right now, but it's about creating and updating an estate and based on what's happening in your life. Are you having a baby? Are you caring for an aging parent? Are you, are your kids getting ready to go out to college, etc.? We give you step-by-step tools of what you need to do, and then make sure that you understand what the implications of your estate plan is and give you the tools to take action on that. We mentioned the digital vault, the resource center, those step-by-step guides that are printed off on each individual document. And again, if you ever do need help, you can schedule a meeting with one of our Gentreo technical coaches so that you can make sure that you're creating the plan that's right for you. With that, I'm going to open it up for questions. And I don't see any questions in the Q&A right now. But again, if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A. If not, you are welcome to email us directly. My personal email address is Julie@Gentreo, which is Julie at Gentreo, which is Gentreo. And then um and then in addition to that, you can do info@gentreo.com, and will make sure to get all of your questions answered.
So, Julie, could you just speak a little bit toward the cost of Gentreo so you don't have to be a Harvard Federal Credit Union member to use Gentreo, but we do offer some pricing for our members specifically. So could you speak to that a little bit?
Definitely. So the again, as because people are members of the Harvard Federal Credit Union, you get a really good discount. So the first year is the cost is based off of the membership that you have with the credit union. It's either $100 the first year and $50 a year thereafter, or $50 a year. And it's an annual subscription, so $50 a year thereafter, or free. So it's either free, 50, or $100 for the first year, and then it's either free or $50 a year thereafter. All of that information is actually built into the Harvard Federal Credit Union's website. So you could go to your website and then go to digital estate planning, and it'll explain what the differences are in those three price breaks. And those price breaks are based on the types of accounts that you have with the credit union themselves.
Thank you, Julie. We have a question about, do you guys work under ARAG legal insurance? Now, I know you're not a law firm, so can you
Right.
speak to that a little bit? Yeah.
And no, we don't. And so we are actually an independent company. And so you would contract directly with Gentreo to create the documents that work for you. And so we don't work in coordination with them.
Okay. And then one more question, is it only available through an annual subscription?
It is. And so this is important because you can come in and create all of your documents. And then and then it's again either free, 50 or $100. But if you don't want to resubscribe or subscribe the next year, you don't have to. We have over a 90% retention rate, basically because we also provide those tools to continually update your estate plan to make sure they represent where your life is now, and create a tool so that everybody knows where to turn to in that digital vault, and make sure that you can update your estate plan as needed. All the updates are included with Gentreo as part of your membership. If you choose not to renew with Gentreo, your documents remain legally binding and are effective unless the state makes a major change. The vast majority of them will always grandfather in wills, FYI, or if your life changes. And so that's why we really encourage people to maintain their membership so they can get it updated as needed.
So I see a question in the chat about how to join Harvard Federal Credit Union. So we do everything and what the benefits are of being part of the credit union. So a credit union is much like a bank. You can have a checking account, savings account. You can have CDs or certificates of deposit with us. You can get a credit card with us, a loan, lots of different types of loans, including mortgages, etc. You can join online at harvardfcu.org. And I see Ty, thank you, has put the information into the chat about how to join. Um, and we would welcome you to join as members. You can join by doing one of those products. You don't have to do them all. So whatever works for you. So if you wanted to have a, savings account with us and Gentreo, and that's it, you could do that. So you could, do what works for you, definitely. And you can also walk into one of our branches and join in person as well. And
In terms of um, joining Gentreo for people who are not members, it's $150 the first year and then $50 a year thereafter. And so you're saving at least $50 a year, if not $150 for the first year. And so it's really important that you talk to the credit union first so that you can make sure that you save money. In terms of how many documents that you can create, all of your documents are included. So you can come in and you can create just your will or just your power of attorney for finances or all 13 of the different documents, or you can make sure that you use just your digital vault. And so all of your documents are included. In terms of how many are included for each individual document, it's however many you need. But each person needs their own estate plan and needs their own Gentreo account. So what that means is if you come in and you create your will and you're, you have 3 kids and then something happens to the second kid and you want to make sure that you only want 2 of the children, you need to rewrite your will. You can rewrite that will, change the will, create a new will as needed. But if you're married, you can't come in and create a will for you and a will for your husband. This is very important, especially when you're caring for elderly parents. Because if you have an elderly parent that you're caring for, you do want to make sure that they get their own account and create their documents so that it's easy for you to help them. And so if you have that elderly parent, we have a lot of people who will create a plan, and they'll use their email address, use the name of, let's say, their mom, and create all of their mom's will, healthcare proxy, power of attorney, all of their mom's documents. And that way, if they need it, they have all those documents that are already in place. And that account for their mom is a separate account. So under the Harvard policy, you can create multiple accounts with your membership. So for example, if I have an account with Harvard FCU, I can create a account for Julie. I can create an account for Pat Fry. I can account for Michael Fry. And it gives me the ability to save money for each account that is created, but each person needs their own account.
Right. And I've just become a member of Gentreo, I will say, and it was a easy process. I've used like TurboTax before. I felt like it was pretty similar, just sort of asking me questions about my particular situation. And it's definitely, I feel like a great resource because I have shopped around and seen some of those little bit shocking price tags about things like, creating a living trust or whatnot. And so I think it's great option for people to consider and definitely take a look at the links that are in the chat.
Yep. And
Yeah,
it's very important because number one, it's incredibly important to have. And then number two, Gentreo has been around now for 5 years. We're recognized as one of the top online estate planning companies. We're endorsed by people like US News and World Reports and AARP and Consumer Reports, etc. Because we have thousands of customers, and it's very important because you're creating documents that control who has access to everything that you love, not only your money, but most importantly, your kids, your pets, and your family.
so we got one more question. And what is the free subscription option and what does it cover?
So all the subscriptions are the same thing. And it's one subscription that covers every one of your documents and covers the digital vault and any of the questions or help, the life milestones, etc. How much you pay for that subscription is based off the type of membership that you have with Harvard Credit Union, Federal Credit Union.
So people should go to the link that Ty has put into the chat to learn more about that.
Exactly. And so some of those people, some of the members will get it for free. Some of the members will get it that same subscription for $50. Some of the members will get that same subscription for $100. It's based on what your relationship is with the credit union.
Okay, great. There are a couple more things we like to tell everyone about every time we have one of these events, but we will come back if there are any other questions that people put
Yep.
into the chat.
And
We
again,
will come back and answer them.
please feel free to email us after, and I'll continue to answer questions afterwards.
Super. So one thing that we didn't talk about too much in this presentation, but through, if you are a member of the Harvard Federal Credit Union or just from attending this presentation, you actually don't need to become a member. If you go to this link, which I believe Ty's just put it in the chat, you can access free financial counseling with a nonprofit organization that we partner with, a different partner called Green Path. And we pay any cost of this so you can get free counseling with your credit, your debt, your budget, housing, specifically like the financial aspects of like saving for housing, et cetera. Federal student loan counseling, if you're trying to decide your payback options, those kinds of things. GreenPath is a great resource. They're available in multiple languages. There's a toll-free number at this link, and then there's also you can just schedule online to meet with one of them and talk through things. So if you're struggling with debt or you just are trying to figure out your budget, you don't have to do it alone. GreenPath is here for you, as is the credit union. We would love your feedback on this webinar. We always are very interested to hear your honest feedback. So Ty is going to put into the chat the survey. It's already there. Thank you, Ty. Please go ahead, and you should also get this emailed to you as a link. So please go ahead and complete the survey. We definitely love to hear from people, and we read all of your feedback. I mentioned that we do have a branch over in the Longwood Medical area. It's at 435 Brookline Ave, so you can walk in there and just join there. So that branch is open till 4 today, every day, Monday through Friday. But it's not open on the weekends, although our Harvard Square branch does have weekend hours. So please feel free to walk in and join us. You can join us online. If you want to join the credit union, that is open to you. We always just have to give the disclaimer, we're not your lawyer, accountant, et cetera. You should go ahead and consult your experts on those things. This is educational in nature for you. We try and provide as much general education as we can on financial wellness. This is how you reach me, and then how you stay in touch with the Harvard Credit Union. We are Harvard FCU on all the social channels. And you'll get a link to this recording on YouTube as soon as we post that. And thank you again to everybody who made time to come out and be part of this. If you have any other questions, go ahead and put them into the chat. We would love to hear from you. And if not, have a good rest of your day. And thank you so much to Julie Fry for coming out and helping with this. It really means a lot to us to have your partnership and to have such an excellent service to offer for our members. So thank you.
Thanks again. And again, please let us know if we have any follow-up or if we can help further.
Thank you. So not seeing any further questions in the chat. So thank you, everybody, and have a good rest of your day.